And we made eye contact, and you could see on the look on his face, because the look I gave him, you know that type of look when you take a motherfucker's soul. You know what I'm saying?
Taking souls.
Hello, ladies.
Oh, you coming at me like that? Okay.
Hello, ladies.
And gentlemen.
Hello, ladies.
And gentlemen.
Welcome to another edition of the Tattoo Guardian
Podcast show.
And on this episode, we talk about health, fitness, working out.
Yeah, we do. And then we cross over the second half. Stay tuned over into mental health and fitness and working out spiritually.
Also, pay close attention because Joshua Carlton's got a special gift for a special person. So, with no more from us, let's get started.
There you go, Mike. I got you. I got that files bomb.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Tattoo Guardians. I am super honored to be here with my brothers, the trifecta, today. All three of us here in the building. We got Mr. Matt Clemmer, and we got Hip, and I'm actually here today as well. Today is an exciting day for me. This is something special to my heart. We're going to discuss physical and mental health in tattooing and in life in general. So without further ado, let's go.
Yeah.
Man.
Woo.
Yeah, he said close to his heart, and really it does. Because, you got to have a healthy heart to be a healthy tattooer.
Man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things that I personally have found incredibly helpful, and Hip, you've helped me with this, is not a sponsor, but I'm a huge believer in the Apple Watch.
Fuck yeah.
And one of the things that I love is that Hip and I were able to connect our routines basically. So if Hip is out on his bike and exercising, I get notified, which does two things. It holds Hip accountable because he knows that somebody's actually paying attention to what he's doing, and it reminds me if I'm sitting there eating Cheetos on the couch, fuck, I got to compete with this guy now, right? So if I'm off, if I'm not doing anything and I see that Hip's out on his bike, you better believe I'm going to get up and make sure I can at least try to be equal to what he's doing. So that keeps me motivated.
Closing those rings.
Yeah. So I'm a huge believer in any like if you don't want to get an Apple Watch, if you're not an Apple fanboy like Hip and I are, there's a ton of different devices out there. There's a ton of different devices that will quantify what you do on a daily basis. Amazon even came out with their own version, which is called the Amazon Halo, and it's only like 90. It's like $90, and it does something kind of creepy but cool, and you can turn it off. It actually listens to your voice, so it tells you like, okay, 70% of the day you were in a bad mood. Like you can actually tell you like your voice was aggravated when you called Tony or whatever. When you did that podcast, you were clearly pissed off at Josh because your tone. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of cool. It's freaking some people out, like it's like listening to them, But like I said, you can turn it off. But anyway, for $90, it does your steps, it does your sleep tracking, which is incredibly important. I've always been terrible with my sleep, and if you have analytics, I'm a pretty nerdy guy when it comes to that stuff. I can say, okay, clearly when I go to bed a little bit earlier, or when I drink tea at night and I stop sitting on my phone, I sleep better, which helps me ultimately be a better tattooer.
So do you wear your watch when you sleep?
I have. When I had a Fitbit, I wore it all the time. It just gets really old after a while. After I kind of learned my sleep patterns and all that, and my like resting heart rate, and it kind of was consistent, I just throw it on the charger at night now.
Man.
Now, hold up, guys. We're talking to fucking tattooers. Sex, drugs, fucking rock and roll, partying. Yeah. We sit on our ass all day and fucking pack color and do shading, go out and party, eat, whatever. But you guys, somewhere along the journey, decided to get your health back, right? And what was the catalyst to that, and how has it even affected your tattoo game?
Man, you want to go first?
Dude, hit him with yours because I can ride on your coattails.
Well, for me, the people that have been following me probably know, so kind of an ad nauseum thing, but I think about 2 years ago, I've got it tattooed on I've got the date I was diagnosed tattooed on my arm, but I was diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic, which if those of you don't know, you can be born with type 1 diabetes. There's not much you can do about it, but type 2 diabetes is generally, I hate to sound this crude, but it's kind of your own fault. You know what I mean? Like I let myself get fat. I sat all day long and tattooed. I loved what I loved, and I just did what I did, and it was kind of like the whole, quality of life thing. I used to kind of be like, if I lose 5 years off the end of my life, who cares? Well, that end of my life almost came a lot sooner. I became severely type 2 diabetic to the point that they told me I was committing slow suicide, and it scared the hell out of me. And I didn't know, because the doctors don't tell you like, hey, you can control this yourself. They just want to put you on medications, insulin and metformin and these different medications. But I started looking it up and learning about fasting and learning about carbohydrates and learning about, simple sugars and how carbohydrates turn into long chains of sugar. So, even if you cut out sugar, if you think you do, but you're still eating a lot of bread, you're still eating a lot of sugar,
Yeah.
So over the course of a year, I lost 70 pounds, and I went from a severe diabetic to zero evidence of disease at all. So I don't want to say I reversed it, because I could certainly get back to it, if I didn't stay on top of it. But it was the best decision I ever made, because later on cancer came knocking, and had I not been in the best health of my life, I don't know what the outcome would be. As you guys know, I'm cancer free. I feel super healthy. I feel amazing. I love life every day, and I don't know if I'd be here with you guys today if I hadn't taken care of my health, So a lot of tattoo artists, we love our jobs, and it's nothing for us to sit for 8 hours. Hips master at back-to-back sessions all the time, marathon sessions, All you got to do is go to any tattoo convention, and most tattooers are pretty overweight. That's why I didn't care. I was like, I look like every other motherfucker. Who cares, right? I got a beautiful wife. What do I care?
Right.
But it's not. It's that longevity.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so I'm just a huge promoter of it. And then a really cool thing happened as I started posting pictures of my health, before and after pictures and stuff. Hundreds of you guys reached out to me. How did you do this? I'm interested. So I kind of wrote a big paper on it. What I did that worked for me personally. And I'd like to say I gave a gentle nudge to a lot of tattooers to start getting healthy, and I'd love to continue that. And Hip is somebody that reached out to me. I definitely feel like I was instrumental in helping you lose some weight and get on the healthy track. What do you think, Hip?
Man, yeah, totally. Because there's the first time we met, I got this picture we took together in front of my booth, and we were just some big old husky sex panthers, dude.
Right.
And then the following year, like, you disappeared, dude, and you were telling me at Evergreen that, like, you just tattoo better, you can sit longer, your back's not as in bad shape, and like that struck a chord with me.
Dude, you came home stoked from meeting him, seeing it in the flesh. He looked like he lost a whole person. Came home, you're like, dude, Carlton's in like the greatest shape. He's lost all this weight, and he told me he feels like he's tattooing at 22 years old again.
Right. And your body,
it's true,
had more stress on it from tattooing than mine has, and I'm already starting to feel the effects of it. So like that right there was a pivotal moment, because it created my why I need to like get in shape, because I was totally cool too. I got a hot ass wife. Like I wasn't even aware that she couldn't say, well, she would say, to pacify me, but
sure.
I got married, and I'm like, fuck it, I ain't got to take care of myself anymore. And
right.
I'm just going to sit around and draw on people. But hearing you say that it made you a better tattoo artist, that rung a bell. And I'm like, well, shit, maybe I do need to pay attention to my health. I mean, and it's only proper because, like, I believe in, like, good mental health, good spiritual health, good well-being in general. Why not just bring the body along with it?
Absolutely,
and
well said.
Yeah, I just started my journey with it and getting to know things, and I think somewhere along the line, because dude, food, like, I went so long on just like deuces of Corona and super donuts. Anybody out there that don't know what a super donut is, it's a delicious hood snack that's always in like the cheap ass fucking gas stations that you see that are ran down. They're delicious. But yeah, that was my fucking
And this
diet.
motherfucker can inhale one of those quicker than a cartoon.
Oh yeah, 3 of them. They're not that big.
I think that was one of my problems is for whatever reason, I'm attracted to like gas station food. It's like, hey, you want to go sit down at this fancy restaurant? And I'm like, no, but I'll grab these burgers from this gas station. They've been here for 4 days.
Right. It's funny you say that because I'm the same way still to this day. Like when I go to like a bougie place to eat, it seems like rich people's palates are like not are more sensitive than your normal middle class America.
Yeah, because people are like, this is amazing. And I'm like, I don't know. Texas Roadhouse is pretty good, too.
Yeah, this shit's kind of bland.
Oh, you guys both lost me there. You both lost me there. I can't relate. Now, one time, maybe, like, if I smoked half a pound of weed and had the munchies, then, yeah, let's tear it up. But any other time, I'd actually rather have good, clean, healthy food.
Well, food, like, come to find out after I got clean is, like, it's good and it tastes good. I forgot like my desires of my appetite and what I like to eat, and then scoot the drugs aside and like the food just kind of replaced it. And I'm like, man, there's so much good food. I see why people like to eat. And that just kind of led me down dude, I was like 350 when I got married. And big, dude, like a beached whale. We got married on a beach because it was the only place I could get into. And just that fucking talk with you, dude, like made me realize like, well, if I want to keep doing this, because this shit's sacred to me, I need to start dropping some pounds. And I started like the keto diet, which I still am on and off at the moment with, but it gets tough sometimes, and basically it gets tough due to my inability to be creative or want to be creative. So I'm lazy, and it's like I can only eat so many burgers wrapped in bacon with broccoli before I'm like, fuck, I need some pad thai.
Yeah, it's tough. Because I was on a feeding tube for 6 months, being forced to not be able to eat, I was living off of mashed potatoes and stuff. After the surgery and I was actually able to eat, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to put on 15 pounds. I don't care. I'll build some muscle. I know how to cut it down. You know what I mean? But it becomes scary. You know what I mean? Like you get so used to something. I went from a double XL shirt to a small shirt, you know what I mean, originally. And, not that I even want to wear a small shirt as a grown adult. I don't want to buy my kids and my jeans in the kids area, so.
Wear your kids' hand-me-downs.
Yeah, right. Hey, Elliot, can I borrow your pants? But, so I started exploring a lot of new foods and stuff. And like, I found that I really love like spicy foods and like, the jerk chicken, like all that stuff like that, So it can be a really slippery slope, but I do think that, you can eat in a realistic amount and you can eat whatever you want as long as it's all about calories in and calories out. People want to have all of these different ideas that there's all these big secrets of weight loss and weight gain, but it's just simply calories in versus calorie out, expended energy. You know what I mean? So there's a good saying that you can't out-exercise a bad diet. And I really think that that's true. Unless you're just extraordinarily motivated. And I'm talking you'd have to burn, 2,000-3,000 extra calories a day to kind of out-exercise a bad diet. You know what I mean? And most of us don't have that kind of crazy drive. I personally love exercising, and I've been talking about doing a 100-mile bike ride for a while now. And I need to get off my butt and actually do it. But I couldn't do that every day, so where I could eat whatever I wanted. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
dude,
I just think
no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, I just think it's good to just have a realistic routine. You don't want to fall down the rabbit hole of like, I'm Josh and I'm keto and that's my fucking life. Like sometimes keto doesn't work out. If you're out with your friends and you want to have a little bit of a meal, like get back on that keto diet tomorrow, but enjoy that quality of life if you go out and have dinner with Matt. You know what I'm saying? Because otherwise you're gonna feel it and you're gonna just snap.
Dude, and you touched a lot of areas with one. Spicy, love it.
Right.
Everything's got to be spicy that I eat. And you said 100-mile bike ride, which is fucking dope because like that's my new addiction is mountain biking and cycling, and I love it. And you brought up a good point too. Like, don't just be fucking keto Josh, because great example. You go to take off on that 100-mile bike ride, you can't be on
No.
low carb.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of like, it takes some time to learn about what exactly carbohydrates can do for your body and, what these things do for you. Because when you're on the keto diet, yeah, you'll lose weight fast, but you'll feel really tired and really lethargic. It's hard to be creative. So it's not super conducive for an artist. You know what I mean? But it's really, really good for like, I'd almost prefer to adopt a low carb lifestyle over strict keto. You know what I mean? Because that way it's a little more realistic. And I try to give myself an open window to eat. Like I said, if I went out with you guys, if I came and visited and we went out to dinner, I don't want to have to be like so strict. That one dinner is not going to change everything. As long as the next day you don't punish yourself, you just get back on the horse. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and I think that you and I have a cool thing with these Apple Watches, like I said, because like you mentioned, you love riding your bike. Well, I see it all the time. I'm like, man, he's out riding his bike. You're a bigger guy, so I'll see your calorie burn and stuff, and I'm like, that's super motivating to me. I'll be like, man, he's just tearing it up today, And I really think that that's a good way to do it, because with COVID going on, it's easy for people to make excuses, like the gyms are closed in a lot of places, right? So people make excuses of how the gyms are closed, so they kind of don't do anything, and everybody puts on that extra 15 pounds because of the pandemic. Well, I have developed a routine that works really well for me just at home. And I get really bored easily. So I like to break it up. I'll put my watch, and any kind of Fitbit would do the same thing. I'll just put it on a generic workout. And I'll get on, say, my exercise bike for literally like 5 minutes, right? Just to get my heart rate up a little bit. And then I'll just get off the exercise bike and I'll just jog around my house, like lightly, for 5 minutes. All of a sudden you've got 10 minutes in, which isn't much, but then I'll lift a little bit of weights. I just got these small weights. I'll just do some curls. Before you know it, you've burned 30 minutes of kind of light exercise, but it's still exercise that you would not have done. Like if I'm going to sit down and watch a TV show, I'm going to drag my exercise bike out in front of the TV and watch it that way. You know what I mean? You can knock out 30 minutes to an hour, no problem. So I do these manageable chunks of small exercises all day long, and it just kind of keeps me going. Like today, it's 2:06 my time. I've done 51 minutes of workout. Nothing hard, but it's 51 minutes that I wouldn't have done in the Fat Josh days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just helps me, because they recommend about 30 minutes a day. And when we're tattooing, we miss that a lot. So if you could average that out still, I try to get an hour a day or so. You know what I mean? 7 hours of exercise a week. It sounds scary, but it's manageable chunks. It's not huge things, you know what I mean? And if I get bored on the exercise bike, I do anything else, even if it's just walking up and down my stairs. Right. We just watched Mr. Clemmer go up 3 flights of stairs. So he got some exercise in for the day. How's that feeling?
He's still breathing hard.
But I like the stairs; they're fun.
For all you listeners out there that don't exercise yet, I'm fucking with you. I own it. But being around these two guys has really brought it to my own personal awareness that it went from basically I know it's a must now. And so I'm at the place where, but when? What's really going to Hip's known me. He makes fun of me. Like he'll be every year, a new year. So Hip's already like 2024. Matt's going to be getting into shape.
Nice.
Like, go ahead.
You can do it's. So I'm not saying people make excuses. I know I used to make excuses.
Yeah.
But there's such simple things you can do at home. Let's say that you're at home watching TV with your wife. There's these little pedalers, like not a full bike, just a little. It's just pedals that you just put on the floor while you're watching TV. Just pedal. Mm-hmm. Just do that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's so easy to do. You're not going to get an incredible workout, but you're going to get 30, 40 minutes of so much better. And then honestly, a new thing I've been doing is I try not to sit down a whole lot. If I'm not doing anything, stay standing and moving around. You'll burn an extra like 500 or 600 calories just staying upright. You know what I mean? Like there's so many little things you can do. I try my hardest to make it to where I burn an extra 1,000 calories a day minimum. Because again, Apple Watch, it shows you what is your normal calories that you would burn if you were in a coma. For me, if I was in a coma, I'd burn about 1,700 calories a day. I actually went and had this tested in a pod and everything. So if I get an extra 1,000 calories from doing my manageable chunks workout, I can still eat 2,500 calories if I want to, which is more than enough for me. And technically, I'm still going to be definitely not gaining, maintaining, or possibly even losing a little bit of weight if I maintain that. I'm guessing for you, Hip, you burn 3,000 calories on your own. What do you think? Do you know?
Not exactly. So I actually pay for a nutritionist every month. And I know that like right now I'm on a calorie deficit. So like I'm only trying to take in 1,800 calories, but a normal one for me is like 2,021 to 22,000 or 100, 2,200. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't seem like enough. Other times it does. I recently got these amino acids, and I take those when I wake up. So I get like my MCT oil in me with some black coffee, and then I drop some of these amino acids, and I pretty much like I haven't even eaten today. Like I had another coffee on the way here.
Right.
And I'm kind of like holding off till later this evening to actually eat. But the first time I started keto, I was doing like intermittent fasting and shit, and just I don't know. I was talking about my why when I seen you and created a better tattooer. Like then I dropped 75 fucking pounds, and now it's kind of like I just kind of fluctuate. And
well, you know how to do it now. You know what I mean? You know what you're doing, so you don't have to really stress so much about it. Let's say you put on 5 pounds because you went on vacation. You know what to do.
Right.
It's once you understand it, and I can tell just from talking to you, the amino acids, MCT oil, keto, you know what's going on. I had no idea, and most of our listeners don't have any idea as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I just didn't understand what to do. People are like, I tried every diet and nothing worked. They're still eating more than they're burning. You know what I mean?
Right. And I've listened to a couple like food coaches talking about like emotions and how they control our eating, and it's the same all the way across the board with everybody. It's just I always say discipline equals freedom. So it's like I need to be aware of my emotions and those like stressors that can cause me to eat. And when I hear the word stress, I think like tough tattoo, a bills due, financial, and a lot of my stressors that I'm bringing into myself. I was unaware that I get out the shower and I look at myself in the mirror, and the shit that I say to myself on an internal level, like my negative self-talk really, really dampers that end goal or vision that I'm looking for. Because, I get out the shower, see myself like, damn, fat as shit, got to lose more weight. Because my situation is like it's never enough. It's never good enough. So I constantly have to be aware that it's progression, not perfection. So that falls over to like I tattoo from 1 o'clock to about 8 or 9. And then when I get done, I go to the gym from there. But depending on how I talk to myself in the morning will dictate usually my attitude once I'm done tattooing. And then that 10-minute drive from the shop to the gym that's in the opposite direction of my house is like such a mountain to climb, because I've already prepped my brain with my negative self-talk to like, why even bother? Like it ain't gonna do nothing. So a lot of times the struggle lies in just getting to the gym. Yeah. And you were talking about like COVID keeping things shut down. And pretty much when we started back up, the gyms opened back up too. But dude, I almost I went on a jog this morning, a couple miles around my neighborhood, and I prefer working out outside versus like staring at a fucking wall,
Yeah. There's a lot of studies out there that just the vitamin D from the sun, like what that does for you, for calming you and for relaxing you. And that's why I say that. Like I think that most Americans have this thing where they join a gym and you go to the gym and you say, well, I went to the gym for an hour today, and then you come home and you eat like crap because you earned it. But then in actuality, you don't go every day, and also you might have been inside the gym for an hour, but you didn't really work out for that full hour, right? Because you're changing machines and this and that. That's why I love, and I'm not saying what I'm doing is right for me, but my routine where I like to go outside. I live in the hills, so if I go for a walk, I'm going up fucking steep ass hills, so it's giving you way more workout. Find any way. I mean, shit. When I go to conventions, I'll put like fucking shit in my backpack just to like lift. I don't have my weights with me. So you can always make something work. I mean, prisoners figure that shit out. You know what I mean? Like you can figure it out. Don't let the gyms being closed or anything be an excuse. Even if you really want to watch that show, do jumping jacks during the commercials, something to, you can add these things into your day. And that's the reason I love the Fitbits and the watches, because it holds you accountable and it quantifies you. You get to see these numbers. For me, being a numbers geek, when I can look and say, oh, you worked out for 15 minutes more today than you did yesterday, it's highly motivative. I wasn't near as motivated when I didn't have the watch. So some form of a watch is super helpful. Even if you just have your Apple phone and keep it in your pocket, and it counts your steps when you walk. You know what I mean? So even if you just try for that 10,000 steps a day, that alone is I think it's a huge help. You know what I mean?
So, like, ladies and gentlemen, like, yeah, I've seen this dude, like, he'll set his timer and speed walk around the convention.
Yeah.
So I know you do it, but we keep touching on this Apple Watch, and, we are talking to the tattooed community. So, like, I have noticed that Apple's discriminatory.
Yeah. Sometimes your tattoos can fuck it up where it won't even work.
Bro, like my whole fucking left arm's blacked out. So anytime I go to work out, I have to switch arms, which is like a fucking luxury stress. I'm like, fuck, I can't work under these conditions. I
Fuck you, Apple.
Right. But, and I know you told me a hack, and I haven't got around to doing it, and I made a mental note to even bring this up today, so it's actually cool we're talking about health and fitness in the tattoo community. So if you could run that by me one more time.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So what it is that the Apple Watch, I'll show you here on the camera, you have these little, I guess, I don't know if it's like a laser or what, I don't know what it is, but it reads the blood flowing underneath your skin, and it is able to get all kinds of information from that. And if you have tattoos, it can block that, which sucks really bad. You know what I mean? Because like you spend a lot of money on these watches,
right?
And it's something that I was like, God damn it, that sucks. I have one little tiny little window on my arm that I have to have it just right. But there's a hack, and it's kind of annoying, but it will get you past it. If you go to a craft store, they sell these little clear stickers. They look like little magnifying glasses. They're kind of like, shaped, kind of rounded on the top and flat and sticky on the bottom. You stick that on the bottom of that pulsometer, whatever that is on the bottom of the watch, and for some reason, even through tattoos, it just works perfectly. Now the only problem is when you go to charge it, you got to take that off. You can take it off and stick it back on probably 8 times before it's not sticky enough. But when you get them for like $5, you get 20 of them. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a little clear sticker, but it'll make your Apple Watch, even if you have a blackout arm, it'll work on your wrist all the time. And so it's a super easy hack. It's slightly annoying, but at least you can use it,
So $5, you get 20 of them. Then fuck, Matt, that should last you till 2030.
Hey, I'll pass that down to my children.
But passing this off to Matt, we can let this roll into something that's just as important, and that's mental health.
Man.
You know what I mean? And mental health is such an incredibly important thing. I am not ashamed to say that I ask for help sometimes. And at last year's Evergreen, I was having a very stressful day. And who's the first person I thought of that could be a spiritual guide for me? And that was Mr. Matt Clemmer. So I kind of asked you, Hip, hey, where's Matt? What's he doing? I really need to sit down with him and talk to him. Yeah. I'm fucking having these thoughts here. I'm letting this stress eat at me. And I just need to sit down with somebody who can guide me in a better direction. Yeah. And Matt sat down with me and we did that and calmed my nerves and calmed my day. So thank you so much, brother, for that. It got me through it. That's a stressful time. When I'm trying to run the convention, it's like everybody needs something, and this guy needs that, and the fire department needs the stage moved, and I just needed to sit down and calm down. So that rolls into the incredible importance of mental health, which, as we've seen, we have 2 pandemics right now. We've got COVID-19, but people are killing themselves. Like this is a touchy subject, but it's rough. People are out of work and people are stressed and people are this and that. Musicians is a big one that live their whole life touring and they can't tour now. They can't do their thing. I was just reached out is how you say that? Somebody just reached out to me, a tattoo artist that I really admire, and was severely struggling because they travel. Their whole career is conventions and guest spots. And they're just like, I don't know what to do. I'm just cooped up for a fucking year. I don't know what to do. And not that I have all the answers, but as Matt helped me, I did my best to help center her to, get back on her feet a little bit and realize we're going to get through this together. You know what I mean? So, Matt, let's talk a little bit about mental health. You seem to have a good handle on some of that,
Yeah, man. Well, for starters, you just proved how important it is that we need one another.
Right.
We really do. What would you rather go without, your left arm or your right leg? Kind of need them both because they make up part of a whole body, as do you, as do I, as do all of our listeners. We together are a whole body. We need one another.
Yeah.
And for starters, anyone that's struggling with mental health, depression, there's so many of us, especially though, if you're a listener and say your spouse deals with depression, but you don't. For starters, you will easily fall into fix-it mode, solution mode, especially if you don't understand. And for starters, not only do we need one another, but we need to be in the listening of one another. And Mike and I have talked about this in recent months, like, if you know someone that's battling with depression, for you to try and fix it is not only stupid and insulting, and it actually does not fucking help them at all. So for starters, to be a good listener is important before you can even get on anywhere. Yeah. But folks, whether you deal with depression, anxiety, or not, like so many people do, we all do. Welcome to the human experience. The most positive dude in the world has down days. Jesus Christ himself fucking had a down moment, right?
For sure.
Welcome to the human experience. And there's so much beauty in that, because that which we define as bad or negative or something's broke, it's just one side of the same fucking coin. So if you're feeling broken, the other side of the same coin, which is also you, is always whole, And the reason why I bring this up is, for starters, to give yourself room, because I think people beat themselves up.
Guilty.
Yep. When you're feeling down, then you feel, and you can start to be apathetic, start to not care. And then even if I should care, I shouldn't even be this upset. I'm blessed. I got so many good things. Why do I feel right? We've all been there. So don't beat yourself up when that deal shows up in your life, because by beating yourself up does not serve you. Give yourself the room, listen to yourself, and then cross over into, well, now what? Even if that now what is just to sit with it a minute and allow yourself and to stay on your own fucking team and keep loving yourself even when it's hard, I think is real important, because we're so quick to judge ourselves. Fucking something's wrong with me, and then you become an island, like no one else fucking understands really the dark place you're in. You're fucking special. No one has carried the burden. You start buying into those lies and then becoming an island, which isn't true, but we need one another. So, but it's easy. You'll start to retract and pull yourself away from everything and everyone that you actually need now more than ever. So who we also surround ourselves with in life is important, right?
Right.
Very, very important.
I saw a quote the other day. It said something like, look at your circle of friends, and if something along the lines, if they're not really holding you to your truest self or holding you to a certain level of your true identity, then you don't have a circle, you've got a cage,
Oh yeah, that's perfect. I like that.
Yeah, man. And so it matters. So there's humility in that, because, Josh, thank you for the kind words you said, but God, we're all beautifully clumsy. And if I feel like in any time when I get to be a help to someone else, it's from a place of experience and pain too. That's why I've learned how important it is just to sit with it. Because when depression hit you and I, we both were like, when I say you and I, me and Hip, because depression hit both of us, and we were talking to one another like, what the fuck is happening? What's wrong with us? Man. And we instantly started judging ourselves, and that wasn't helping. Right.
Totally.
So I think that's an important step one. Two, shout out to everyone in your life that loves you enough to be there for you, to listen, but to also tell you the truth and help be a guide when you're ready to it. Meaning, because unsolicited advice fucking, doesn't matter, Right. And there's
it's wasting air. Yeah. No, just saying, like, you got to be the attraction, not the promotion.
That's right.
You can't force someone help. They got to want it.
So here's one thing I practice often even if it's to pull me out of a funk. Okay. And this is something I practice maybe even daily without even realizing it, meaning, an old, here's a good example, an old timey, like fucking miracle worker from like 20s, 40s era, his name was Smith Wigglesworth. Dude only had a 4th grade education.
Old
Wigglesworth, man, walked in fucking miraculous power, healing people, pulling people out of wheelchairs, After his meetings, I'd hear stories of semi-trucks coming to pick up and fill up wheelchairs because all the people were walking to get right. Anyways, this dude walked in some level of power. He's not even alive today, so I guess he wasn't that powerful, right? I'm just kidding. No, but anyways, someone asked him, like, man, how are you tapping this power? Like, dude, you must fucking just pray and meditate all the time. And what's your prayer and meditation look like? You're tapped into something. And you know what he said? He's like, man, I never ever pray longer or meditate longer than 20 minutes. But I also never go 20 minutes without praying.
Which
it's just
meditating for 20 minutes seems like a fucking lifetime.
Right. And so he never even goes that long.
Right.
And if he ever goes 20 minutes, it ain't fucking longer. But he don't let 20 minutes go by without being in some sort of state, right? well, that's with that mentality trickles over into just a state of being. You could replace it with anything. It don't have to be prayer. It's a conscious awareness, a state of being, right? And so one that we practice is this thing called gratitude, right?
It's the attitude to have.
Man, and we know that. In theory, sounds good on paper. We hear all the gurus say it, right? But man, when you're feeling down or it seems like shit's falling apart, you're like, fuck that, right? You don't always feel like grateful, right? Yeah. And it's easy for someone to feel grateful and even express it when there's evidence all around them to be fucking thankful for. I'm talking about practicing when it's the best time to do it is when shit's fucking falling apart and it's about to take me south with it. And I noticed I'm fucking going south. I'm crossing over into fear and lack and oh my God, right? So here's a perfect example. Obviously, like you said, pandemic, we've all faced so much just this past year. Globally, collectively, a whole collective conscience, and on individual levels. Individual tragedy has knocked on our door and kicked the motherfucking door in. And just when we picked up the pieces from one thing, here came another fucking storm, right? We can all relate to that. So now what? And what gratitude? So this will be, if I say a practice, if just like working out, forced, like when you're saying like, man, that drive to the gym is a struggle, but you're still going there while warring, something in you is making yourself go to that gym. Something in you is making you, Josh, pull out something to exercise on while you're going to watch that show, right? Yeah. And so I was driving along and in my world, and this was just, this past year, it seemed like my world was crumbling, falling the fuck apart. And I could sit here and give you guys all the reasons. And if I did, I really think I'd get your respect by like, oh my God, that would be my definition of shit falling apart too.
Right.
HIP helped me with, you can't gauge someone else's trauma because it used to be we would get disgusted and not have much empathy because there'd be someone next to us bitching and moaning like they got the biggest problem, the worst life. And to me, it wasn't shit. And I'm like, what a weak ass punk bitch, whatever. Internally, I'm thinking, man, what a complainer. They ain't been through nothing. They ain't really seen real pain. But then HIP opened my eyes, like you can't gauge their trauma. To them, that is falling apart. Right.
Right.
Yeah. So problems are problems.
Problems are problems. So, but on this day, it felt like mine were real fucking bad.
The most important.
And the most important and real shit. Like I was like losing people, losing everything, fucking losing it all, to where and it humbled me. And I was just driving along the road, and in that moment, I felt darkness coming over me, and me almost just accepting defeat.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, this is even what takes good old Matt Clemmer out. Like, fuck, man, I'm about to give up. And almost like I had a flint rock in the spirit realm. Everything was dark around me, and there's something inside of me with the last little bit of strength pulled out that flint rock and started thinking of one thing I could still be grateful for just to make a spark. It was forced. I had to think about it, but I was able to think of one thing. Here's where the power lies, was for me to say it out loud. And it immediately, and this, a warfare type spirit came over me, and I said it out loud again, like almost yelling it, like a warfare, like I mean it. I'm still, no matter what, I'm still fucking thankful for this, which led to a second thing that I'm thankful for, which is a third. And so if you guys don't mind, we'll just play right now, and I'll practice live right now in front of you. Okay? Driving along. Okay, I'm just sitting here on this podcast. Hip, I'm so fucking thankful for you in my life. I'm thankful that I'm on this podcast for every ear listening, that we even get to be here to be vulnerable. I'm thankful for Josh Carlton, all that you are, all that you have been to everyone in the life, and that you're alive sitting here to share and talk with us today. No matter what storm has hit us, no matter what has came us, we somehow have been creative overcomers. We have overcame. We're still sitting here. Josh, you're alive and healthy and whole and cancer-free, and you're here today. Hip, you're not in prison. You're not dead. Every time you shot up that bullshit, it didn't kill you. Somehow you're here. Somehow I'm here. I could have been dead, but I'm not. I'm thankful for my fucking grandma, who was my best friend and died at 95, and I was thankful for the gift to get to say goodbye. I held her hand while she took her last breath. I thank God for my children. I thank God for the opportunity. Even though I fall down 8, somehow I'm thankful I have the strength to get back up 9 times, and I just keep going, and I'll say it out loud. I'm thankful for this. I'm thankful for my right hand on my steering, whatever, even if it's forced. But what happens is I'm pushing that and I'm screaming it, and eventually you will cross over into actually believing it, actually feeling it. And then I'm telling you, the darkness started to leave and more light started to come in. Did my problems change? No. Did my circumstances change? No. But guess what? Everything changed because my internal state just changed. When we can change how we see things, the things we look at begin to change. Nothing out there changed. I changed on the inside, and it changed my whole fucking world. And it started from just forcing myself to practice gratitude and to, I was driving along screaming again, like survival. And I know I may have looked silly. I may have seemed foolish. And guess what? I don't know about you guys, but real talk, when you're all alone, even if you feel silly, don't you ever get the sense that someone's watching you?
Every time.
You can still get embarrassed even when it's you. Yeah. And so when you're doing this, 2 things will pop up to rob you, to make you stop in no certain order, but one will be ego being like, boy, don't you look like a fucking fool right now. You sound fucking stupid. Just, whoa. And the other thing that will show up to try and rob you is this thing called unworthiness. Whoa, you're getting a little too excited. Okay, yep, you can be happy that you're here. Yep, you can be happy for your children. But whoa, calm down. You don't deserve all that joy. Yeah. You don't deserve that whole all of quantifying all of that, like something. Those 2 things will show up. You're not fucking worthy to be this happy right now. Your life's falling apart, and you look like a fool that you're even trying, you fuck. Those voices will show up to make you stop. That's when you fucking kick it in harder. If it's your own ego or unworthiness, boy, you just fucked up. Now you're going to make me think of 20 more things to be thankful for, and I will keep screaming that in the midst of feeling like a fool until I know it, till I receive it, right? And that can help your mental health every fucking time.
Man, tag team me in, dude.
Come on.
Because look, so on the way up here, even before I started the journey up here, like Matt's wife and my wife are friends. And, Matt's wife told her that she could bring my daughters with us, and this time came around. Well, my wife waited till the last minute, or what felt to be the last minute, because for starters, I got you, Josh, and Matt both on pedestals. So like anytime I run behind or late, I'm already kicking myself in the ass. So we got the okay. I load them up. I went to do what I had to do before heading up here. Then boom, Matt calls me, asks me, my ETA, and I tell him like, dude, I'm going to be like 20 minutes late. he tells me to hit the group chat, and then I do, and then I just start mashing on the gas with, you know, my family in the car, so which already is kind of idiotic, because if I reckon and you know, I could possibly kill everything that I claim that I'm claiming that I'm grateful for. So I'm already boiling. I start throwing on some fucking metal. Every road I turn onto's got construction, you know, because fuck, that's what the universe is just picking on me today. So I'm instantly trying to like point blame, and I'm just like half-assed. I'm basically robbing this time that my family is looking forward to spending with Matt's wife, and robbing them, being like half-assed, silent, and pouty. Get up here, still kind of short. Matt calls me, tells me that because, you know, in the text I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to be 5 minutes late because I was speeding. He calls me, he said he's got a bunch of irons in the fire, and since I'm late, it allowed him to commit to a couple things he didn't have time for. So now he's going to be the one late because I pulled back my fucking 20 minutes to 5 minutes. So now he's fucking late.
I thought we had time. Now you took it back.
and in the midst of that, he's telling me that, like, you know, he's got infants and babies here, so their bedtime's
8:30.
Yeah, 8:30. Where I got kids that are, you know, your age or
teenagers.
Teenagers. Your children's age. So you know,
my age.
Yeah.
Right. I look good for my age.
Yeah.
No, but you know, Matt's telling me this shit, and like I'm just being short with him too, to the point to where he noticed it and called me back, and he was like, hey, you didn't think I was being a dickhead to, like, you know, let your family know they got to be out of here at 8:30? And I was like, nah, not at all. But I didn't even speak any of this to him to let him know that I was already in a funky in my feels. Boom, we get up here, we start doing this, and then like as this is transpiring and like we're starting now to hit on gratitude and shit, I'm just like replaying, listening to Matt talk about like pulling himself out of that dark place, and hearing you talk about like all this shit, and I'm like, why did I just rob? Because see, now it's that unworthy, that bullshit. It's like now, instead of staying in gratitude and remaining in gratitude, my mind's like, you just robbed your family of this feeling, and you know, you just been negative fucking Nancy the whole time. And more so, I just want to like clear the air with that, just for the power of what gratitude is and does. And even though I'm in it now and entering in it, that mental game that I'm playing against myself, my worst critic, is like trying to rob me of that at this very moment. And I'm not gonna let it. And I'm actually way better. I felt stress be relieved from me, and it's just so silly that like the things that we get caught up with mentally, that will just like rob us of our whole entire day. And I'm so self-centered, I don't even realize like who it's affecting until some hindsight, and I get to look back and I'd be like, you know what, you know, I owe an amends basically to my family when this podcast is over, simply because because I do, you know, I don't know what cause.
And aren't you thankful, one, that you get to express that right now, that you're even aware?
I am, but I'm scared because like I got a wife and 2 daughters, and they're scary. They're like on a higher emotional level than I am, and I've always got to catch up. But I'm grateful for the opportunity, but I'm scared of it. But I think that's why, you know, if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. So what a great opportunity to be able to make that amends and to be alive. Like you were saying, I'm not in prison. You know, I can make that amends.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is what the podcast is about. I want you to wake up tomorrow. I want you to listen to this every morning.
Man,
get your day going. This is why we're here. This is what the Tattoo Guardians podcast is about. I appreciate you guys sharing your story. This is powerful stuff, though. Like, I'm going to put this on in the morning and run in place.
Man, come on, man.
Matt is too. And you know, when you were talking about, you called me to see where Matt was at so you could talk to him. He was actually at the Y in Eugene. That's why he wasn't at the convention.
Right.
Oh my goodness. And just like you guys you choose your position to work out, to exercise. It's a conscious choice, and it's daily. You were touching on that earlier. If me who doesn't work out, Okay, if I got fired up from this conversation, I go to the gym tonight and work out, and then look in the mirror afterwards. Am I gonna see any fucking difference?
Right.
Yeah,
No.
totally.
Right? Then
thing
that's
is,
the
too, Matt,
thing. Yes, go
The
ahead.
thing is too is that, so like, I'm 47 years old, or maybe 46. I think I'm 46.
Damn, he's
I don't know.
dementia.
Exactly. I'm having a senior moment. The thing is it's really easy to go, well, I'm 35 or however old you are.
Yeah.
This is just what it feels like. And then you
Yes.
get healthy and you're like, oh shit. Like when I say I feel like a 20-year-old, I truly do. Like I feel good. Like, I'll walk by some, giant set of stairs on some beautiful building and I'll just think to myself, man, I could run up and down that no problem. As to where before it was like, man, I could go for some donuts right now. You know what I mean? It changes everything. Speaking of mental health, it dramatically helped with that. Like we haven't touched on it a whole lot, but I have a pretty dark past from suicidal thoughts to dark depression, and it's pretty much gone. You know what I mean? And like, I'm not going to say it's completely cured, but it's dramatically better.
Yeah.
Because my physical health helped my mental health become a little bit clearer. You know what I mean?
They're hand in hand.
Yeah, they really are. Hip knows, and I don't want to push it on anybody that's not ready. But if any of you listeners out there don't know what to do, don't know where to start, don't understand any of the carbohydrate, long chain of sugars, any of that stuff, message me. I will send you the paper that I wrote on it. I will send you what worked for me personally, and I will help coach you through stuff when I have time to, because you bet I want you to be your healthiest. I want you to tattoo for fucking ever. Like this is sacred. This is an absolute sacred job. We're the, again, luckiest people in the world. And Hip, I know you want to tattoo as long as you possibly can, right?
Yeah.
And you took those steps.
Did you say you wrote a fucking paper on it?
I did.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Which
I did.
is
I wrote
impressive. Yeah, that's impressive. But what's even more impressive to me is that you live what's on that paper.
Oh, yeah.
I do.
Come on.
Yeah, and and like what I always tell people, like, hey, this is something that works for me. But as I learned, I like to do things in unconventional ways. So instead of being like, I'm going to do all these diets, I just really tried to break it down into a simple form. And I found what worked for me. Like I said, I lost 70 pounds. I kept it off for well over 2 years now. It was weird because my whole life I've been out of high school. I've been the fat guy. And, I'm funny and I'm a tattooer and I was this and that. I didn't care. Just like Hip said, But when I was getting my scans and stuff, once the cancer thing came, it was so weird because the doctor had never seen me before. And he was like, well, you're a super thin guy, so this and that. And to hear him say that, it was like, who are you talking to? I'm looking at x-rays of myself and he's like showing me like there's no real fat on me anymore. And it was so like, I just felt so vindicated. All that fucking hard work, all that walking, all those bike trails and all that, stuff. Honestly, the reason I wrote the paper to help people was to also hold me accountable. Like how am I gonna get on the internet and show you all these before and after pictures, and then I'm gonna show up at Evergreen fat? Fuck that. You know what I mean? I'm not
Photoshop.
We all got to put
right?
our poker. We got to put our poker faces on. Hey, Josh, looking good.
Yeah, you look good, husky. So,
And then Hip's all of a sudden like, fuck it, I get to get fat again, Josh.
I give him permission.
yeah. Which was
But no,
awesome because you're wise. Like it's what I heard in this conversation is your why or your fuck it, I'm done. Your moment of change was your diagnosis of diabetes. Yours was seeing him do it.
Was his diagnosis
His
of diabetes.
diagnosis. And that's powerful. That's so fucking powerful, and that's why I need to get on the train. Hip, literally, I've been talking shit about getting in shape for years, haven't I?
Since I've known you.
Yeah. Now, there's been progressive changes. For it's funny, we're talking about health, and any of you viewers are seeing me and Hip sitting here hit our vape every 30 minutes.
But that's better than taking 30 smoke breaks in an
No
hour.
calories.
And Chad's right.
Yeah, no but it tastes delicious.
Yeah, it's sugar-free. Yeah. No,
one of the things that I did, sorry to interrupt you. So you've been to Evergreen, I have the two announcers. I have the two guys on stage that are always cracking jokes and everything. Bigger guys. They were watching me run around the convention and stuff and talking about getting motivated and getting into shape. And I was like, you know what? Like, tell you what, man, what's your goal weight? And they'll tell me, and I'll say, just start with manageable chunks. Start with 40 pounds. And I'm like, I'll tell you what, if you can lose 40 pounds, I'll give you $1,000 cash. And I've done that a couple of times now to friends. And I've never felt so good to give somebody $1,000 of my hard-earned money because guess what? this motherfucker just saved some years on his life to spend with his family.
Josh,
I
thank
have
you.
no problem doing that because something that's his why. If it takes money to motivate somebody, but it's going to save their life, I'm doing it.
Come on.
Doing it.
Hey, I want to offer up $1,000 to our listeners right now. Whoever hit, what was the? But will you ask them their weight goal, right?
Yeah, you got to figure out. You got to figure out how to exactly to do it. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause for him, it was 40 pounds. For another guy, it was 70 pounds. These were their own things that they did. I offered a guy a full day of tattooing for it as well. You know what I mean?
Man, fuck that.
So we got to figure out.
I'd take my money. I ain't gonna sit down and tattoo you all day.
Hey, Jay and Kronk, they fucking got the $1,000, went straight to Sizzle Pie.
Right.
Oh shit, that's awesome, Josh. We need to figure out a way. You just inspired me to help others do that. That's
Well,
good.
let's do this. Let's figure out a way that can happen. And that reminds me, speaking of mental health,
Yes.
when you lose interest in all of your hobbies and all of your things, you just go down this rabbit hole. You spiral down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I found for me, getting some sort of hobby that's new, something that you're into that you can lose yourself in, really helped. And for me, years ago, I'm sure you've heard me talk about it, that became flying drones. I love flying drones. People that don't understand them, they're not spying on your wife. They're really, really fun. Nowadays, they can go like 5 miles away. I can explore beautiful Oregon and film in 4K.
Wow.
I want to offer something to my listeners as well. This is something that is people don't know how to get into it or whatever. I'm somebody who collects drones, so I've got plenty of extras. So I would like to offer to give one of my listeners that feels like they're in needing of something. I want to give them my drone. So if you want to message me and tell me kind of a little bit about what's going on in your life, and if you feel like this is something you've thought about and maybe this can help you, we'll talk and I'll pack this bad boy up and send it right over to you, and I'll show you how to use it, because you can get lost in it. It makes me feel like a little kid again, right? It makes me feel, I forget about my stressful clients. I forget about cancer and diabetes and exercising, and I can just go out to the ocean and I can fly over the water and I can make these beautiful films. And I would just feel good to just give it to the right person. Somebody out there needs this more than I need it right now. And so message me.
That's beautiful.
And let's get it taken care of.
You know what? You said 2 words that were so powerful, which was to lose yourself. And for you, being a little kid again and flying that drone, you lose yourself in that. And something new to lose yourself in. And something hip it does, and I do too, but hip taught me, especially when we're feeling down, is to lose ourselves in the service of others. When we're fucking feeling down as fuck, we go out looking for someone to bless, whether that's with money, with our time, with our help. Because you get so self-absorbed.
Man.
Life sucks. I suck. Everything sucks. Fuck the world. Well, that's the time. Like going to the gym. I don't feel like it. I'm gonna go find a way to serve others and hopefully lose myself in the service of others and forget my own bullshit even for 5 minutes. And in that process, magic happens, doesn't it, Hip?
Man, you can't keep what you got unless you give it away.
Man.
100%. And like we've talked about before, it feels incredible to give, and it feels incredible to do these things. Like when you say going to the gym, like as we're doing this podcast, my wife is in the little gym we have next door in our house, and she walks out every day and she's just like, man, I didn't want to do that, but god damn, do I feel good now.
Fuck
you
yeah.
know? And
Thank you, because we hear people like me hear like, yeah, working out and stuff, getting in shape's tough, but eventually you get addicted to it. Eventually, it's worth it.
Man.
Can you guys confirm?
Oh man, like you've heard about a runner's high, and people will be like, fuck that, I'm not running unless the cops are chasing me.
Yeah.
When you experience a runner's high for the first time, I'll never forget it. I was running, and I should have been done because my legs were hurting, and I broke through that barrier, and I started laughing because this song came on that I loved, and I felt like I could run for an eternity, and it just didn't make any sense. You know what I mean? I was 5 minutes ago, I was losing my breath, and I was literally just running and laughing out loud.
Yes.
Your whole body. I know you felt it on your bike, Hip. It's an amazing feeling, especially for a dopamine person. Man. And then you just feel amazing afterwards, and you feel accomplished, and you feel proud of yourself, and you feel the opposite of depression. You know what I mean? You're out there in the sun, and you're feeling good, and you're fucking happy to be alive, and you're appreciative. And that'll make you want to give even more, You're
euphoric, man. I used to catch runner's highs back in high school when I played sports, man. And it's crazy you said that because I forgot about that. Like, And it's so rewarding too, because like to get to it is a struggle bus.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you keep hearing about it, and you're like, "What is this bullshit runner's high? Fucking liars! I wish you weren't a liar." You know?
It's real. It's for
But it's
real.
very-
100%.
When it hits you, it's like I said, I just found myself laughing. I was like, "Man, this feels incredible," and like I feel like I was unstoppable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I've got a coworker that runs 10 miles every morning. I got a lot of clients that run, and I've just avoided it till here recently. Like we just had kind of a semi blizzard.
yeah.
And the day that it started coming in, I went for a good 5 mile run. I do watch a lot of David Goggins as well.
That's my hero.
Dude, man.
That's
And
my
you know,
hero.
like everything we're touching on, he always talks, you know, we just came back to the physical aspect of it, but Matt was talking like the spiritual and the mental aspect. And David Goggins always talks about callousing our brains,
Yeah.
you know, to endure uncomfortable pain. So that way, when we're not doing it by choice, it's not as bad.
Yeah.
Because it's coming. It's something's always coming to each of us. It's coming down the pipe. It's got our name on it right now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I'm a big fan of, you know, I'll fucking thermal up. I've been doing, for the last month, I've been doing like Wim Hof showers. So I'll take my
Nice.
normal shower and then I'll do the Wim Hof breathing and then turn it on cold and, you know, try to get to that half minute.
I love hearing that. I love, because these are things this is my world you're talking about for every day. And I don't get to talk to a lot of people that know about Wim Hof or, you know, any of that stuff, or even Goggins.
Yeah.
If anybody out there wants to read a book that will change their life, first of all, just look up David Goggins and listen to his story on YouTube. But read his book, Can't Hurt Me, and it will absolutely change your life. Like you'll be running while you read it.
Dude, he's a fucking anomaly, man.
He's a monster. Like, you know, he's somebody who, like Matt was saying, like, you fucked up now, and I'm going to give you 20 more reasons to be positive. David Goggins, I feel like if him and another like guy that like pushed themselves really hard, I think it'd be a bad idea if they like got in a race, because I think they would just both die at the end because they just wouldn't stop.
Yeah, like
You know what I mean?
Jocko Willinks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that dude's fucking nuts too.
You know, I feel like there's people out there that have this motor, and I see David Goggins just like, he would just do pull-ups until his arm broke off, but you know, he wouldn't quit though. His arm would just break off, and he'd be like, "I'm not quitting."
Yeah.
Taking souls.
And this is
Taking
again,
souls.
man, and this is why we need one another, right? Because the David Goggins in our life is going to pull a part out of you that's already you, but it was dormant, right? And this is why you seeing what Joshua Carlton did and the change he made in his life, it pulled something out of you. Was it already there? Always was, always has been, but it took another brother to pull it out of you.
Yeah, it just had to be relayed by the right voice.
Yeah. And even when it comes to mental stuff, that's where, you know, I'll be in people's lives to pull something out of you. It's already in you, but in vice versa. We need one another.
Man.
Absolutely.
And, you know, just on a physical and diet aspect, this is why I love like Evergreen and the Boise tattoo convention, because, you know, Josh's sister and brother-in-law, Pete and Jamie Carino, like I've went on hikes with them.
Yep.
In Idaho before the convention, and it's just it feels good. Mark Matthews, you know, he's a health nut. My homie Flip Shades, man, he was a big, hefty, fucking meat pocket, and like he has continuously achieved goal after goal after goal after goal. And anytime I do a show and he's there, I just know I have that accountability or someone to talk to or pick his brain. Because man, I think that dude's probably dropped over 150 pounds.
Wow.
Completely different.
That's so inspiring. And everybody out there listening to, remember that this exercise and stuff and all this, you know, David Goggins routine, it translates into anything. It translates into your tattooing career.
Yes.
You know, it's about getting motivated. It's about motivating yourself. It's about being the best you can possibly be.
Yep.
You know, so don't, you know, I've said it before, don't judge your success by how poorly those around you are doing. Get up and go.
Come
You
on.
know what I mean?
Come on. And we all fall down.
And even a greater aspect of that, surround yourself with people to where you're the one that's doing poorest out of all of them. You know, be the dumbest person in the room.
Come on.
Absolutely.
My coworker just bought all of us. So we recently started. We got some new members that come from shops that don't hit like aisle 9 hits, and they're just in awe of the way we operate and activate as a team and a family, and how we have each other's back. And when we say it, we don't just prove it with our word, but we back it up with our actions. And my coworker Zachary Good bought us all this book called The Hero Effect. I just started reading it today, and like I was tearing up at just how they talked about heroes are all around us and everybody in our lives. And there was a saying, and it said that we are all born extraordinary. We just choose to be ordinary. And I've always just made the assumption that, like, you know, we're born into being ordinary, and it takes extra amounts of energy to become extraordinary. And it's like, fuck that. Like, the dude just flipped it all the way
Thank
around.
you.
We're born extraordinary.
You already had it.
Man.
It's
Like
just
Matt
coming
said,
in
yeah.
out.
You know, it's like if you walk into a kindergarten class and you say, who here is an artist? Every kid in that class is going to raise their hand.
Yeah, come on.
Who is a musician? Who loves music, right? And then you go into a college class and 10 people raise their hand because life has beat them down.
Man.
It was
ask-
already in there.
And if you ask that college class, who here's the black sheep in your family? Every hand will go up.
Every motherfucker will go up. Yeah.
You know?
So it is in you. It is in all of you. We all have this motor. Sometimes it's just hard to get it to come out. Sometimes life gives you just circumstances that forces it to come out. This is again why I love David Goggins. His story is so powerful and so real. And you know, we all have our own story, but you know, if you're out there struggling with any of that, you know, like you can do it. I'm not just going to sit here and be like, yeah, you can do it, motherfucker. You can fucking do it.
Yeah.
Take it from me. You can do it.
Yes, you can, and you don't have to do it alone.
No, you don't.
You know?
Or all at once. The whole manageable chunks thing, you know?
Come
Break
on,
it down
man.
into realistic goals. So you're not going to just feel like you just failed and you quit again. Manageable chunks.
That's right.
Thank
I
you
just
for
took-
keep bringing that up,
Yeah, dude, I
'cause-
just did 3 flights of steps.
Manage
That's a
that shit.
win. Woo!
See, I'm getting all fired up, and I'm like, yeah, I want to change the world right now. And Josh is like, manageable chunks. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
Don't get ahead of yourself. It's
Oh,
real easy to
yeah.
get ahead of yourself.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Man,
Exactly.
come on.
Exactly.
Yep.
Enjoy that journey.
Yep. And you know, we're all in and out of states of beings. This is again why who we surround ourselves with is so important. Guess what? You need to be reminded of the good news of who you truly are every day. Why? Because we forget every day.
Every day.
You know, we all need to remind one another, you know, and to be able to remind ourselves, you know, that can feel like exercise.
Yeah.
When you don't feel like it, when you don't want to, you guys go to the gym anyways. When it don't feel like there's anything to be thankful for, I'll fucking find it. You know?
That's right. Yeah.
It matters. You matter. For all of you tattooers out there that feel defeated right now, you feel discouraged, maybe you've even bought onto the stories like, not this town, nobody in this studio, like, man, I just wished I could work with dudes like you, whatever. If you're discouraged right now, first of all, this is just part of the process. You did not come this far to stop here. But we also recognize what got you here will not get you there. And so sometimes this pain, this discouragement is the gift that you need to direct you to the next level of life, the next realm of relationships, the next whatever that needs to be put in place to help you grow to that next level. And it is all around you. Even when you feel like a pandemic hit, the fucking economy, whatever, do you think abundance just packed up and has left the fucking show?
Nah.
No, abundance is still all around us. It's always yours. It always has been yours. You don't even have to create it. It's already here for you. See, what we do is we create limiting beliefs. And so it's the process of becoming self-aware of where my own limiting beliefs have been kicking my own ass. To realize, holy shit, this don't have to be true. This ain't fact. It's just a belief. And I can fucking let it go and take on something new and apply the courage to reach out and take Joshua Carlton up on his offer to change your life and win a free drone. Whatever the fucking case may be, what you want wants you. When you are really focused on, when you can even put your own doubt and depression on hold for a minute to open yourself up to possibility. What you want wants you, and the whole universe, which was designed to serve you, will all conspire and align to help you get to that next level, bring the right people into your life, the right opportunities, the right situations. So when Josh says you can do it, we not only are the proof, I'm screaming and pleading with you. It's okay if you're discouraged, but this is not the end of your story at all, and you really can do it, and we're here to support.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah. Yeah. And really write us and reach out. You know what I'm saying? Don't think you got to listen to this podcast and then be like, okay, fuck, that all sounds good in theory, but I can't fucking take that on yet. We're here to help.
And you guys reaching out actually helps us.
Fuck yeah.
And I'm not just saying that to say it to make you feel better.
Come on. Iron sharpens iron. This ain't one-sided.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you're David
sure.
Goggins, maybe.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Maybe he don't need fucking nobody.
Well, nah, he needed the Klans members in his hometown that he grew up in to fucking light his fire. You know, those drill sergeants telling him he couldn't do it and laughing in his face.
Love that shit.
Did you see the thing where he did it? He did like a crazy 100-mile marathon, made a wrong turn, went like 20, 30 miles out of the way.
Oh, my God.
Lost the race, and then the next day got back up on his feet and ran the rest of the race by himself.
Yep.
Oh, my God.
Come on.
Oh, my God.
He had to do it. I guarantee you that motherfucker wouldn't have slept. He had to do it.
See, look, at these fucking tattoo conventions and shit, you know, it's always funny because at like Evergreen or Hell City or whatever, like I'm in the zone, I'm killing this fucking tattoo, I wipe it off, and I'm like, damn, that shit's dope. That might just win. Then I see my client in line and I'm looking at everything else and I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking? In those moments, right, my mind will try to trick me that I'm actually competing against the Joshua Carltons and the Matt Clemmers and the Cottermans and the Rimbers of the fucking industry. I'm not. I'm competing against my fucking self.
Come on.
Absolutely.
Every time. And I lose track of that. But it's vitally important for me to always remember, just like Goggins. He wasn't racing against everyone else in the race. He was racing because he gave himself personal. He stayed true to his integrity.
Damn. Yeah. Even when he went fucking the wrong way.
Yeah.
I mean, he went like at least 20 miles out of the way. And like nobody was there when he ran that race. Nobody else was there. You know, he just did it.
He could have gave up. He could have gave up.
Yeah.
What do you do when no one's watching? Come on,
masturbate. Sometimes people are watching.
Yeah.
Spice things up a bit.
You taking it to a whole nother level of health, huh? Yeah.
Man, why is your right arm so much bigger than your left
Oh,
arm?
shit, dude. He's Popeye over here. One arm Popeye. Hey, I saw a Goggins video that just made my soul fucking smile, dude. And I love it because he's dropping his videos with the shirt off while running a mountain.
All the time,
Not only
man.
is he dropping content, he don't stop to do a content piece. He's fucking shirtless up a mountain and someone's filming him. I'm like, this motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? And I think he was at Camelback Mountain in Arizona. I used to live in Phoenix for 3 years. I know it well. Not from running it, you know.
That's hot as fuck.
Yeah,
When I was in
man.
Arizona, people be like, well, at least it's a dry heat. And I'm like, yeah, so is fire, motherfucker.
Right.
Fucking, you know.
Damn. So Goggins was out there at an event, right? And there's some dude that came up to him at the event, and he's like, Goggins like, where to run? They're like, Camelback Mountain. The dude's like, yeah, dude, I run it every day, man. I'll fucking see you out there tomorrow and shit. And David's like, so that next day, I ran up and back up and down Camelback Mountain. I didn't see that motherfucker. Here it come, and I see him at night, and the dude's like, yeah, I'm out there. You see me? He's like, the next day, I was out there running. I still didn't see that motherfucker. He's like, on the third day I'm running up, and they got a fucking glass ski lift that'll just take you up there. And Goggins like, I'm running up the mountain, and here comes a ski lift, and I turn over and look, and that motherfucker was in the lift. And he's like, and we made eye contact, and you could see on the look on his face, because the look I gave him, you know that type of look when you take a motherfucker's soul. You know what I'm saying?
Taking souls.
I'm like, yeah.
I'll get that shit. I'm gonna get shit taking souls tattooed on my fucking neck.
Hell yeah, dude. Fucking great, man. And thank God for the Goggins of the world.
We need them.
That's like part of the body. Thank God for the Carltons of the world. Thank God for the Hips of the world.
We need them.
You are fucking, if you're alive on the planet listening to our voice right now, you are here for a reason, completely 1000% on purpose, for a purpose. The beauty of the journey is getting to be kids and play and discover all of what that looks like and entails.
Yeah.
Man. Woo-wee. So there's some health stuff, especially on mental health, just touching on gratitude. That's like a tip of an iceberg. But practicing that one thing really, really helps. It really, 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 really helps. Love it. Man, thank you guys. And what I was hearing you guys say, like with the manageable chunks every day, is like a compounding effect.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, it can become so overwhelming if you don't break it. For me personally, it becomes too overwhelming, and then you just sit down instead. You know what I mean? But just take those first steps, one thing at a time, and it really, really helps me a lot. And like I said, like get a partner, get somebody who can keep you motivated. If you both have Fitbits or Apple Watches, and you can connect. Actually, Fitbits, I think Fitbits might even connect to Apple Watch on some degree to keep yourself accountable. It's worth it, man. It's worth it. Knowing your sleep patterns and all this stuff, it's really worth it.
Clarity comes in the doing, and God bless you fucking doers, because you're speaking from experience, because you've done it and you do it. Versus, for all you listeners out there, that's like my punk ass that's bought all the gear. I own a Fitbit. I own a watch.
He does.
I fucking bought all the gear like I'm doing it. I got fucking running shoes. Ain't fucking used any of it. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it's a start though, man. And it doesn't mean it doesn't mean you can't start tomorrow.
And just
or
having
after
these
the
talks
podcast.
Yeah.
We'll go on you down for a jog, Mike? Yeah, there it is. You're
there
accountable.
It is. Hip and Mike are going jogging. Woo! It's good. You know what? Whatever today's date is, because we don't know what day we're dropping this, but I don't know. It feel real good to come on here in a month and be like, guys, I'm fucking walking every day or something.
Yeah. Baby steps, manageable chunks, man.
Yeah.
Manageable chunks.
You'll be so happy. You'll be so happy you did it, man.
And
All
I
right,
didn't
guys.
know that you guys had that accountability set up that when you exercise, Josh, you get a ding that Hip's fucking running right now.
Yeah, and
shows
his brother-in-law.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, Pete tears it up, man.
Yep, I got a bunch of homies here, same way. Joe, I know, I see his workout every morning. I see Josh's. Yeah,
Dude, that's fucking fire. Mm-hmm. That's fucking fire. So if even any of you guys notice on your watch, man, I haven't even seen Hip ain't made my watch ding. Do you call him out, Josh? Or check in?
Well,
like
I haven't
that?
had to because he works out all the time. But eventually I would be like, what's going on, man? Like
Gotcha.
I even wrote him after surgery, I could only do like little 5-minute chunks. So I messaged him. I'm saying, hey, you're going to see a whole bunch of little 5-minute workouts. It's going to look weird, but that's all I can do. And he's like, hey, man, baby steps. You know what I mean? And that motivated me to keep going. And now, I'm riding my bike all the time. I'm running all the time now. Because I had a collapsed lung before, but I still kept pushing at it. And that's why I don't have a collapsed lung now. I fucking worked my way through it. I'm not fucking giving up. I'm too young, man. I'm here.
Yes, brother. Man. Fuck, that's powerful.
You can be down, but you ain't out.
That's right. That's right.
if you can look up, you can get up.
Exactly.
Man.
Les Brown,
Man.
my guy.
Hell yeah.
Man, what a great fucking episode, guys.
Yeah, man. I'm glad we were all three of us together again. Thanks for joining us again, Hip. I know we've all been super busy, but
Yep.
we've been making it work. I'm
Yeah, we
super
have.
excited to be part of this podcast. It's something I really look forward to. I definitely appreciate you guys.
Yeah,
One last thing I feel, I'm sorry guys, I should have touched on earlier. When I gave you my practice example of just like finding shit to be grateful for, if you noticed, everything that I said I was grateful for was almost past or present tense, right? I'm thankful for, and I thought of things in the past, and even in this present moment, everything I do still have. Here's another important twist that I cross over into is I go future tense, and I start to scream gratitude for my future self and everything I want, feel called to becoming, that I'm becoming. I'm thankful for it now. in the way I say it is whatever I'm working towards, whoever I want to be, who I'm becoming. When I'm screaming like gratitude, I'm giving thanks for it now as if it too is already here.
Nice.
And you are worthy to do that.
Yeah.
Matters. It fucking matters. Happy day, guys. Thanks for letting me join you on this episode.
Yeah, man, what a great episode. I
Hey,
appreciate
you trying to go to the gas station and get some munchies?
Let's man, I thank the audience again. What a great episode. Stay tuned in next week and we'll be back with some fun combo. Thanks, guys.
We love you, Guardians. We love you all.
Yeah, we do.
Yes. Thank you very much.